So I realized I didn't make an intro video for this. So this is a slip dress tutorial. I wouldn't call it like necessarily a slip dress. It's more like a slip bodycon dress because people think of slip dresses to be like straight. I did this a while ago and I never posted it up, but I still wanted to film the process. Guys, let me know what you guys think. It's like early in the morning and I've had a really long weekend. But yeah, you're gonna need pen, paper, pattern paper. I use the sloper for this. I'll put the link to the sloper. You're gonna need a stretch satin fabric. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know if this is something you'd make. So here's the sloper I'm using. This is from BurdaStyle.com. It's their knit dress sloper. I'm going to use the bottom portion, the armhole and the bottom portion of the dress to create the slip dress. Make sure you select the size that works best for you. As I create the pattern, you can either leave out the skirt portion and make it more flared out if you want a flared slip dress. I'm going to later take in mine because I want mine more fitted and then it flares out. I'm going to make sure that the back portion goes across so we can get the cowl neck. I'm pretty content with how my sloper is looking, so I begin to cut it out. However, later on, as I said, I'll make a few changes, but it's not necessary. You can always do that either in sewing or still in the pattern making process. This is the back of the dress that I'll be cutting on folds. As for the front of the dress, you're also going to cut it on fold. I decided to push back the armhole a little further back to create a deeper cowl neck. Here's how I fold my fabric. I'm going to make sure the two ends meet in the middle so I can have folded edges on both sides. Remember, the front and back are being cut on fold. As you can see here, I took it in slightly to create a bell shape hem skirt, but you could have just left it flared out. I also created a facing. The facing is cut the same way from the top, just you're going no more than 4 inches or 5 inches below the armhole. And here I'm beginning to pin it. Here's how your pattern pieces should look like when you cut it. This is the back. This is the back facing. This is the front facing. And this is the front dress. It should look kind of like a strapless dress, but we've exaggerated the width of the top of the dress to create a deep cowl. Here are some bias strips in order to create our straps. I have begun attaching the bias strips. I'm going to begin sewing them together in order to make straps. Once you have sewn the bias strips together, now you're going to press them inwards to create these straps. To help myself quicken the process, I use one of my bias tape makers to help press it out with my iron and the bias strip. Mine is about 2 inches with bias tape maker, and then when I press and fold everything, the straps should be about 1/2 inch of a width. You're going to take the back dress piece, iron it out, make sure it looks good, and then you're going to take your back dress facing and put it on top and sew the armholes together. After you have sewn the armholes and flipped out the facing and the dress, you're going to make sure you edge stitch that armhole. You're going to repeat the same thing for the front facing and the front dress. You're going to sew the armholes together, flip them inside out, press it out, and edge stitch the armhole. After you flipped it inside out, this is where you start to place your straps on the inside between the facing and the dress. You're going to put it at the corners of where the armhole ends because that's where your straps will be falling, and that's how the cowl neck will drape around your neck. You're going to sew across where I've pinned, and that's how you close your straps, and then you're going to pull out your straps. Your facing should be faced on the opposite side of your front dress, and you're going to most likely edge stitch and make sure you pull out the straps as neatly as possible and everything falls into place. After you've edge stitched and the straps are neatly fall into place, make sure you cut those corners to make sure everything falls. Then you're going to press out the facing from the front of the dress. Here's an up close of the front of the dress. That's how the cowl should be draping. And here's the edge stitch. I'm going to show you the edge stitch real close. Now, after you've completed the front of the dress, you're going to take the back dress and the front and start aligning the dress on the side seams. Make sure the facing matches up with the back facing and the front of the dress matches up with the back of the dress. Here's where I'm showing you where the facing lines up with the back facing and how the front and the back of the dress line up. That hole where the armholes are supposed to be, or where the straps are supposed to be meeting outside, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it shouldn't be tucked in. It should be tucked out. Here I am displaying where the side seam meets up, especially the side seam meeting up on the facing of the dress and the exterior of the dress. It might be a little bulky right where the corners meet, but you can press it down or you can trim the inside. And I'm just going to do that right now. Here's the back opening, and this is where you have to put the straps on the inside between the facing and the back of the dress, which is what I'm going to do. I made sure to try on the dress and pin where I wanted it. Uh, as you can see, I'm showing you the pin. You're going to cut it short. So now you know that's your length and you can remove your pin. Now you're going to sandwich in your straps between the facing and the back of the dress, Once you've completed that, you're going to sew it, and here's how the top of your dress should look like. If the cowl drapes too much when you try it on, I would suggest putting a dart like what I did here. Here's the back of the dress. Now I'm going to show you how to hem your dress. You can hem it by hand, you can hem it by machine. I hemmed it by machine by rolling it over. It's a rolled hem. And that's how you should complete your dress. Here's the completed dress with the cowl neck, the straps, my darts, the back, and as you pull it up, you can see how it's slightly straight shaped, but I also made it come into a bell shaped skirt hem, and then as you can see, I hemmed it with a machine stitch. And it's time to show you the final look. So you sat here and watched that entire tutorial and you haven't subscribed yet? Hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. Also follow me on all my Instagram accounts. This video was also in collaboration with my homegirl, Shania. Check her sewing tutorial out as well. And you can also check my sewing blog. And I hope to see you guys another time.